I'm Shane Stalter, and I teach pre-engineering at Monarch High School.
STEM. What is STEM, you ask? It stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. The world of STEM has become an important part of our lives due to its impact on our society. Science is found everywhere. Technology continues to have an expanded role in our lives. Engineering is what's used to create things like bridges, and the world of mathematics plays a daily role in our lives. To succeed in this highly technological and informational-based society, students need to develop their capabilities in STEM to much higher levels than in the past. To explore more on this topic, we interviewed Shane Stalter to get his views on the topic of STEM.
What engineering classes do you teach here at Monarch?
But we have a computer-aided drafting, we have 2 levels of that, and that's called engineering CAD. And we have robotics, industrial design, architecture, and design technology.
Okay.
Just a couple of things.
Do you want to teach any other classes here? Or do you want to add more engineering classes? Or?
The way our facilities are laid out, I think we're really set up for mechanical engineering, robotics engineering, industrial design. I really like to see the architecture program grow. Right now we have about 8 students, which is up from 0 last year, so that's a good improvement. I would love to grow what I have already.
Okay. So why teach robotics in STEM classes? And how is STEM important in today's world?
I think robotics and STEM classes is very important because students get to actually build things, walk away with things, much like an art class, only it's a little more technical, so things are more functional, less aesthetic, although we do like aesthetics in engineering. It's where students develop a fundamental of what can be made, how it can be made, and then when they make things, they understand how it needs to be designed for ease of manufacturing.
How do you think these classes will prepare students for the future in STEM fields?
You know, I really push the engineering design process. So it's problem-based learning. So in life, you're going to be presented with a problem, and there's not always a textbook or a process that walks you through how to solve those problems, whether it's emotional problems, social problems, or an engineering problem, right? So there's a whole process to find the problem and then research. And that's where I think students and adults all need to spend a little bit more time. A lot of times students, let's just take a rocket project, for example, where their problem is to launch an egg in a 2-liter bottle that goes 75 meters high and returns the egg safely. And that's all you're getting from it. But you have Google, you have the internet, you have millions of people who've done rockets before, right? Go out there and find out how they did it instead of trying to reinvent the rocket or the wheel each time. Use the research that's out there. I mean, you guys use your math, you use your science, right? So other people's ideas have substantial weight on that design as well. Don't always try to start experimental. Everybody wants to go experimental. Do research-based rockets. That works.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm getting at.
According to the Organization for Cooperation and Development, America consistently ranks poorly against its global classmates in STEM subjects, placing 25th in math and 17th in science out of 31 countries ranked. Only about 18% of high school seniors perform at or above proficiency in science subjects, according to the National Math and Science Initiative. These numbers are why it's so important to get more students involved in STEM-related areas.
Brody and Osi explain how the hands-on experience they get in these engineering classes help them understand the STEM field more than if they just had the textbooks to study.
Why did you decide to join this class? What do you like about the class so far?
I like how we're able to actually get our get hands-on with the machinery. Yeah, so a bunch of my friends are in this class as well, and I really like using CAD programs and then actually making something with them. As well, I'm also doing an SRS project where I have to make something, and so I thought just keeping up on my CAD skills was a good way to continue doing my SRS project. So.
Tell me what the most interesting part of this class is.
The most interesting part is honestly probably learning about how to use these machines, so 3D printing and laser cutting, all this stuff. That's the most interesting.
there anything you are hoping to learn in this class?
The basics of CAD and all sorts of different CAD programs. That's about it, yeah.
Is STEM something you'd like to explore in the future?
Oh yes. I plan to go into college in engineering, partially because of this class as well, so.
What surprised you most about this class?
How laid back it is, but not in the sense that you're never not doing something. So we're always doing something, but it doesn't feel like it's a lot of work.
How does STEM help students to be successful in the future?
I think it builds your mental capabilities in that when you're working in the STEM fields, just any knowledge that you're gaining is helping you better comprehend things around you. So any technology or science or any of that kind of stuff helps you.
What's the most interesting part of this class?
Probably the most interesting part of this class is I think that CAD software itself. It's really interesting to design and build things in the CAD software, and you can design them and then find errors in the design. You can use simulations to find errors in the design, rebuild it inside the computer, and once you've got the design perfected, you can build it in real life and make sure that everything, and that way, when you build the final model, it all works properly.
Is there anything you are hoping to learn in this class?
Last year, so this is CAD 2 is what I'm taking, and last year in CAD 1, I got my CSWA degree certificate. It is basically a certification that shows that I know how SolidWorks, the CAD software that we use at MoHi, that I know how to use it proficiently to an associate's level. This year I'm going for a CSWP, which is at a professional level.
Is STEM something that you'd like to learn or like to explore in the future?
Yeah, I plan on going into a degree in mechanical engineering. I've always liked building stuff, going all the way back to building Lego and then building small robots using kits and stuff, and finally building big robots with our FRC team. And yeah, I've always liked designing mechanisms and stuff that moves around and works.
What surprised you most about this class?
What surprised me most? I think what surprised me most was how much emphasis there tends to be on the procedure that I mentioned earlier about making sure that you perfect the design in the computer. There's no, when I was a kid and I played with Legos, I could build and rebuild anything as many times as I wanted to get the end result that I want. But in this class, when I'm building stuff out of wood and metal, those materials cost money. So I have to make sure that my design for whatever I'm making is good and that it will work well, and that I'm certain of that, so I'm not wasting any materials. And that was really surprising. I mean, it's interesting to come from not really having to deal with material costs to having to deal with material costs.
Do you prefer to work by yourself in this class or with a team?
It's been a combination. It's been a combination of stuff. I've worked with my friends on a lot of projects, but the vacuum former that I mentioned, I did on my own because I felt like nobody else was really interested in the project. And the nice thing is that we all have different objectives and different stuff that we want to do. So I can work with my friends on one project, like this battle robot right here. But then, after I'm done with that, I can work on the next project.
How does STEM benefit people, like their future and careers and stuff like that?
So STEM, for me, from the designer / engineer standpoint, STEM helps because I can make cool stuff that I can make cool stuff that will probably sell well, and that I think are really awesome. And that's for my benefit. And then for other people's benefit, I mean, you wouldn't have cars or computers or cell phones or most modern innovations without STEM and similar fields. So I think they're really important to the modern way of life. Yeah.
What is the structure like in this class? Like, how does your teacher go about doing projects and the curriculum?
So it's a pretty open structure. We basically tell him, hey, I've got this idea for a project. I've got the CAD designs that I can show you, the computer-aided designs that I can show you, and this looks like a feasible project. This looks like something that could work. He can then approve it and buy us materials if he thinks that would be a good project, and we can then go to work and build whatever thing that we were planning on building. Yeah, basically the only main end goal that we have is to get that CSWP degree certificate.